ASEAN Study Center, Sports Stadium, Investment Gallery, Mini Hospital, and Job Placement Center to make the student easier to get the job.
Mari bergabung bersama kami di Universitas Kadiri.
Halo teman-teman, selamat datang di Universitas Kadiri. Udah pada tahu belum? Universitas Kadiri adalah universitas tertua di kota Kediri. Selain lokasi tempatnya yang dekat dengan wisata, Universitas Kadiri juga memiliki banyak sekali keunggulan. Sebelum itu, yuk kita kenalan dulu apa aja sih fakultas dan jurusan yang ada di Universitas Kadiri. Universitas Kadiri memiliki 6 fakultas dengan beberapa jurusan. Yang pertama, Fakultas Hukum dengan ilmu hukum. Yang kedua, Fakultas Ilmu Sosial Politik dengan jurusan Administrasi Publik. Yang ketiga, Fakultas Pertanian dengan jurusan Agroteknologi dan Agribisnis. Yang keempat, Fakultas Teknik dengan jurusan Teknik Industri dan Teknik Sipil. Yang kelima, Fakultas Ekonomi dengan jurusan Ekonomi Manajemen dan Ekonomi Pembangunan. Yang keenam, Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan dengan jurusan Bidan, Profesi Bidan, Keperawatan, Profesi Nurse, Farmasi, Teknik Laborator Medis, dan Teknik Elektromedis. Kita mempunyai program pasca sarjana yang pertama, Magister Ilmu Hukum, yang kedua, Magister Ilmu Administrasi, dan yang ketiga, Magister Manajemen. Nah, buat teman-teman yang berkeinginan kuliah, buruan aja gabung di Universitas Kadiri. Karena kita ada kelas pagi dan kelas sore yang khusus untuk karyawan. Dengan 3 jalur pendaftaran, yang pertama, jalur prestasi, yang kedua, jalur reguler, dan yang ketiga, jalur transfer. Yuk, buruan gabung di Universitas Kadiri. Halo teman-teman, selamat datang di Universitas Kadiri.
Bingung kuliah di mana? Universitas Kadiri mempunyai 6 fakultas dan 21 program studi. Fakultas Hukum, program studi S1 Hukum dan S2 Hukum. Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, program studi S1 Administrasi Publik dan S2 Administrasi Publik. Fakultas Pertanian, program studi S1 Agroteknologi dan S1 Agribisnis. Fakultas Ekonomi, program studi S1 Ekonomi Pembangunan, S1 Manajemen, dan S2 Manajemen. Fakultas Teknik, program studi S1 Teknik Sipil dan S1 Teknik Industri. Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan, program studi D3 Kebidanan, D4 Kebidanan, S1 Kebidanan, Pendidikan Profesi Bidan, S1 Keperawatan, Pendidikan Profesi Nurse, S1 Farmasi, D4 Teknik Laboratorium Medis, D3 Teknik Elektromedis, dan Pendidikan Profesi Apoteker. Info pendaftaran. Ketik link http://pendaftaran.uniq-kediri.ac.id/. Tata cara pendaftaran. setelah terbuka halaman awal pendaftaran. Lalu pilih daftar atau daftar kesehatan untuk Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan. Masukkan data diri Anda. Login dengan menggunakan NIK dan password yang Anda masukkan. Halaman dashboard setelah login, lalu bayar biaya pendaftaran menggunakan nomor virtual account yang didapatkan. Jika sudah, akan mendapatkan nomor pendaftaran dan bisa melakukan tes online pada tautan yang ada di dashboard. Jika dinyatakan diterima, kemudian upload dokumen yang dibutuhkan. Kemudian bayar tagihan registrasi dengan nomor virtual account yang diperoleh. Registrasi mahasiswa baru untuk mendapatkan NIM. Isi data diri dengan benar dan lengkap sesuai dengan isian yang diminta. Universitas Kadiri memiliki 4 jalur pendaftaran. Jalur prestasi untuk calon mahasiswa yang lulus pada 2 tahun terakhir atau bebas tes dengan mengunggah prestasi minimal di tingkat regional atau menggunakan nilai rata-rata rapot 8-10. Jalur KIPK. Jalur KIPK merupakan beasiswa untuk calon mahasiswa yang kurang mampu dan memiliki kemampuan akademik dan telah terdaftar di laman kip-kuliah.kemendikbud.go.id. Jalur reguler. Jalur reguler untuk semua calon mahasiswa baru lulusan SMA atau sederajat yang mendaftar di Universitas Kadiri. Dan jalur transfer. Jalur transfer untuk mahasiswa pindahan atau alih jenjang atau lintas jalur di semua angkatan. Universitas Kadiri juga memiliki beragam fasilitas seperti Gedung Olahraga Surya Kediri yang digunakan para mahasiswa untuk kegiatan olahraga. Dalam Gor Surya Universitas Kadiri juga dilengkapi fasilitas olahraga seperti basket, futsal, bulu tangkis, tenis meja, dan fitness center. Musola. Perpustakaan yang dilengkapi dengan ratusan buku untuk referensi, sekaligus berbagai penelitian mahasiswa Universitas Kadiri. Laboratorium komputer dengan berbagai alat yang memadai, dengan kapasitas 50 orang mahasiswa.
Kadiri University is a private university located in Kadiri, East Java, Indonesia. It is located in the west of Kadiri, near with Rajamangala Cave and Airlangga Museum. The location is also near with Maskumambang Hills, makes the Kadiri University be a comfortable place for studying and learning. Kadiri University has big contribution of Kadiri development. It's said by Sudanjo Supriyadi Wali Songo Kadiri Foundation since 1980. Kadiri University has passed many bachelor to fulfill the society needs in Kadiri especially and in Indonesia commonly. The graduates of Kadiri University have gotten a job in many cities and countries all over the world. Creating the combatant, superior, characterless to be able to compete internationally in 2026 is the vision of Kadiri University. It is also supported by all faculties in Kadiri University. Kadiri University has academic, profession, and vocational education, namely Law Faculty, Social and Politics Faculty, Agriculture Faculty, Economics Faculty, Engineering Faculty, Health Science Faculty. Using student-centered learning, Kadiri University supported by the good quality of lecturer to get a good cognitive, effective, and psychomotoric graduation to be able to compete in globalization era. Kadiri University has academic and non-academic facilities such as library, computer center, language center, ASEAN Studies Center, sports stadium, investigation gallery, mini hospital, and job placement center to make the student easier to get the job.
Mari bergabung bersama kami di Universitas Kadiri.
International webinar about feminists in public policy, contradiction government policy rules for the woman, held by Faculty of Social and Political Science, Kadiri University, Indonesia, will be begin. Please have a nice seat in your home, office, or wherever you are now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning all. Honorable Mr. Rahul Bhandari, the Director of International Office, Karnabati University, India. Honorable Madam Nasrin Jannesar, the lecturer from Rajamangala University, Thailand. Honorable Dr. Imam Fachruddin, MSc, the lecturer of Kadiri University, Indonesia. Honorable Dr. Sugeng Widodo, MSc, the Dean of Faculty of Social and Political Science, Kadiri University, Indonesia, and all participants. Welcome to our international webinar about feminists in the public policy, contradiction government policy rule for the woman, held by Faculty of Social and Political Science, Kadiri University, Indonesia, with 3 honorable speakers from India, Iran, and Indonesia. Next, give our deep respect to Indonesian, India, and Iran national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. Our next agenda is welcoming speech from the Dean of Social and Politics Science Faculty, Kadiri University, Honorable Dr. Andi Sugeng Widodo MSc. The time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Morning all. Honorable Mr. Rahul Bhandari, the Director of International Office, Karnabati, India, and Madam Nasrin Jannesar, the Lecturer of Rajamangala University, Thailand, and Mr. Imam Fachruddin, the Lecturer of Kadiri University in Indonesia, and here my sister Pamadya Vitasmoro, the Head of International Affairs, Kadiri University, Indonesia. And all participants, welcome to our international webinar, Feminists in Public Policy, Contradictions, Government Policy Rules for Women, head by Faculty of Social and Political Science, Kadiri University, Indonesia, with three honorable speakers from India, Iran, and Indonesia. I would like to say my sincere thankful for three speakers in this seminar for their willingness to join this seminar. This seminar will discuss and share about the equality between the men and women in the world, and what kind of public policy which must be owned by each country for women. I think it is very nice and interesting topic for both men and women, and hopefully this seminar will give us all much benefit. That's all my welcoming speech. Enjoy the seminar. Thanks for your participation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Sugeng Widodo, as the nice welcoming speech. Next, we come to our main agenda, the seminar presentation with the first speaker, namely Mr. Rahul Bhandari from Karnabati University, India. Hello, Mr. Rahul.
Good morning, Dr.
Good
Vita.
morning. Okay, how are you today?
Good.
Okay, it is time for you for delivering your presentation. But first of all, maybe you want to introduce yourself to the audience. The time is yours.
So, please allow me to share my screen because it will help me to introduce myself to all the audience. Give me a minute. Can you see my screen?
Yes, very clear. Yeah, it's okay.
Just give me a minute. All right. First of all, selamat pagi to all my Indonesian brothers and sisters, and a very good morning from India. Thank you very much, Kadiri University and Ms. Pamadya, Vita, to invite me in this amazing topic today. I'm honored to be speak on this topic because there are very few men who are, especially going to talk about the feminism, not only in world but in India also. I would like to start with my short introduction. My name is Rahul Bhandari. I am Director of International Office of Karnabati University, India. Parallelly, I am also holding director position in SPACS, United Kingdom. It's basically an education consultant who are working on quality and accreditation process. So far, I have more than 15 years of experience in international relations in different continents of the world. I work with a lot of government, non-government agencies, universities in US, UK, and other part of the world. I also teach couple of in couple of countries as an foreign teacher, where I focus on IR, international relation theories, and advanced management and advanced human resource management. So let's talk about today's topic, which is feminist in public policy. It's basically more about women policies and rules around the world. As being a person of international relation, I will highlight the international relation prospect on feminism. So most of my understanding and most of my presentation is going on the IR side. This word is basically used, if I'm correct, from 15th century onwards, feminism, feminists, women rights, and all. We'll give you a quick view that what feminism and feminist is all about in the prospect of international relation. So if I say feminism in international relation, it's basically talking about the different movements happen in the history of mankind or humankind. When we talk about the movement, these movements are talking about a social movement, political movement, ideologies movement. That aim is to basically define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equalities for a women. It's very easy. Someone who believes and follow the feminism concept in IR, we generally call them as a feminist. There are people who may confuse about feminist and equalist. Equal means when you are equal, and feminist basically. So very easy or important to understand the difference between feminism. Feminism basically focus on mostly on women's rights, whereas equalism talk about the equal right not only for women but for man. It could be for transgender, it could be for anyone. So equalism is basically a bigger term. Under that, we can say that sorry, feminism is one of the topic. Before find out the challenges and other things about feminism, it's very important to understand the history of feminism, from where it started and why we are talking about feminism today. Let us go to the back of the history. The feminism is something around started around 14th century of in the world. It was documented actually that the lady called Christine da Pisano who was started this feminism in somewhere around 14th century. She was a poet, author in the court of King Charles IV of France. During her tenure, she wrote multiple of poetries, books about the feminism and the women rights. So people start reading her books and understand about that what women's rights is should be. That time that word feminism don't come actually. It's more about the women rights, equal rights in the society. There are certain books. The people who are interested, I suggest them to, read those books. One of the important book is from the Christina is the book of the city. This is one of the good book, initial book, which talk about how in 14th centuries women are struggling in terms of equal rights. Another important lady, which we called it as a mother of first wave of feminism in the world. Her name is Mary Wollstonecraft. Is one of the one who initiated the first wave. I'll talk later about how many waves we have in a feminism, but she's a well-known person. She's again wrote multiple of books on feminism. One of the important book which I should recommend all the listeners to go with that is The Vindication of the Right. It is one of the famous books from Mary, which talk about women equality, not in terms of only social, in terms of work and other things. So these are the two prominent lady in the world which initiated the women right, not the feminism word. That people are confused that feminism started in 14th century. No, the women right things started in 14th century. The word feminism comes later on. You can see most of the this women right issues comes from US, UK, and France in the initial time. Why this not comes from Asia continent? Because that time in Asia, lot of countries believe women more stronger and more powerful as compared to this Western country, which is later on the situation is changed. But initially, when the European world was struggling with women rights, the Asian continent have that kind of social structure where women is having a lot of power. Let's go to the waves which we are talking about. The first wave, which was started by and by the of course by Professor Mary, which is started somewhere around 20th century. It basically started in 1959, but we consider it as a 20th century. The first wave was majorly focused on women rights in political terms, women education, women working conditions. These are the main topic on the first wave. The second wave, which was started somewhere around 1960s, which was deals with inequality between man and woman in terms of sex, in terms of family, in terms of job, and the discrimination was happened between man and woman in the society also. The third wave, which is started on late 1980s and early 1990s, it was more focused on the same issue what second wave was issued, like equal opportunity for women in jobs, equal pay, and the discrimination which has happened in the society in the name of sex, that he is a male or female. So these are the three important movement initially start. Fourth wave, which is considered to be started on 2008, is more about sexual harassment in job and as well as in the society. So that was the wave which people believe that is still going on till now. But I just wanted to highlight here that very recently there is another wave happened, which is not considered as a fifth wave of feminism, which is called #MeToo movement. If you remember this #MeToo movement in the past, this movement is basically talking about the sexual harassment of a woman in the job by their seniors. This movement was started by this lady called Tarana Bokesh, the founder of this movement. She started somewhere around in 2006. She's also a lawyer in New York. She talked about her experience, how her senior have sexually harassed her while she was doing the job. And it was very successful till 2017, where a lot of actress, lot of politician ladies, lot of normal ladies talk about how they feel sexual harassment while they are in job. So these are the some important movement which happened in the past, and we have seen that now most of the movements are active on social media. But if you go on first wave and second wave, most of the movement are actually happen on ground, where people come out and do protest on the road. But after third wave, most of the movements are happening in social media. People are using social media platform to transfer their knowledge and transfer their experience all over the world. As I say that I am from an international relation background, I'll take feminism on IR part. So there are different IR theories related with the feminism. The first, which we call it liberal feminism. Liberal feminism is nothing. Liberal feminism basically focused on there should be equal law for women in society. So when we talk about equal law, equal opportunity for a woman in the society and the equal kind of treatment in the law, that kind of theory comes under the liberal feminism theory. Second is a radical feminism theory. It's slightly an aggressive theory. This theory says that the man is not at all on a higher position of in the world. This theory says that the woman is on the higher side. So this is basically a theory which basically dominates that whatever the view a woman see in the society is a right view. So they said whatever the view man and other people have follow is not correct, but the woman, the way she see the society, the way she feel about the law is the right way to go ahead. Number third is a cultural feminism, is basically which says in every sense women are superior than a man in terms of job, in terms of handling situation, in terms of law. The woman is superior in every sense in compared to where. This basically a theory which is lot of time you will find the man are contradicting with them, because they said how women can supreme in every part. So that's some theories. There is another called socialistic feminism. Socialistic feminism is basically, if you remember Marxism in international relation, Marxism is basically called capitalism theory. So Marx said that in the capitalist society, there is a huge exploitation of a woman. Why? Because in the capitalist society, the top seat was occupied by man, and they give more salary and better working environment to man as compared to women. So the Marx is actually against this theory. He said that there should be no capitalism in the society, and there should be equal salary or equal working environment should be given to man and woman. So that theory comes under socialistic feminism. Ecofeminism is, as words say, people joined feminism with environment. So the person who see feminism and environment together is called ecofeminism person. And the last is intersectional. Intersectional feminism basically not deals only with the equal rights or a law. It deals with right of sexual orientation for the woman. If very soon you have seen that there are a lot of laws passed on transgenders or this called lesbian laws and all. So this intersectional feminism is more focused on the freedom of a woman on in terms of sexual orientation, the freedom of a woman in terms of race and income. So these are some basic theory you will find on international relations, especially focused on feminism. Okay. It is very important to see here what are the challenges women are facing and what are the reasons behind it. I'm talking about all over the world right now.
Okay.
The first challenge which is coming in front of a woman, especially in terms of exploitation, is the problem of education. Still, lot of Asian countries are not having that proper framework or a proper cultural support or a society support where the woman is getting equal right for the education. Another important thing is that the equal opportunity of employment. For example, as being a man, my family is allowing me to go maybe from here to Indonesia for a job. But if I talk about my sister, if she wants to go from India to Indonesia for a job, maybe my family will stop. So the equal opportunity of employment is missing in the society. That's create a gap. Another, it's very common all over the world, is the problem of eye teasing. I mean, all of the women aware about this, and there are still not a very strong law against that, and there are sometimes women don't complain because of feeling shy to complain about it. That's another which is happening in couple of part of Asian country, especially in India, also called dowry system. The dowry system is basically when a woman gets married, the woman family need to give certain money to a man in terms of maybe jewelry, cash, or a land or something. Now it is prohibited, but still is happening in India. Number term is gender inequality. Gender inequality, similarly, if I hire a rector in a university, male, his salary is higher than a rector of female in that same university or another university. So there is a biasness in terms of paying salary in the corporate. At the same time, if you see the political leaders around the world, you will find that maximum leaders are men and the percentage of a women leaders are very limited. So that shows the biasness in the political side also, that where more male are political leader as compared to female leaders. Female abortions, it is, I'm not sure about other country, but it is again a challenge in India, where when people knows that there is going to be a female baby, people get an aborted because they feel that if they have a female baby, they have a lot of expenses like their marriage, dowry, and all these things. And they believe if they have a male baby, he's going to help the family in terms of bringing, he's going out and doing job and bring the money to the family. So that is again a big challenge for a woman in a lot of Asian countries. Problem of sexual assault, the movement which we talk about, #MeToo, comes under here. The women who are working in a job, they face a lot of problem of sexual harassment from their seniors, colleagues, and junior always. This is something which is very sad, but it generally happened. There are incidents happened in India where the women who are attacked by we call it acid attacks. People, narrow-minded people have done certain events which is very shameful for us also. So these are the problems. Women trafficking is a big problem in Asia and Africa, where the poor women are taking from this underdeveloped or developing country to the developed country for sexual work. That's one of the big challenge, mostly in developing countries. Gender equality, I already talked about, in the name of job, in name of the salary. Girls' marriage while they are mostly underage, especially in India. If you want to get married, a woman, she should have at least 18 years old. But in the previous time, we have seen in India and other part of the world also that the child marriage is very frequent. The woman get married when she is 6 years old, 8 years old, or 9 years old. That's again create a problem on improvement of women, because if they get married in 9 years old, how they are going to complete their education and job, and there is always a gender gap which will come. And last but not the least, we call it honor killing. Honor killing in the name of religion, honor killing in the name of the society, honor killing in the name of the prestige of a human being, which was happened all over the world. From India, you go to any part, you will find this challenge for a woman called honor killing. So these are the challenges which women are facing all over the world. Let us say the equality ratio of countries, how much woman is equal to a man in the terms of 149 country. I'm not very proud to say that we are in out of 149, India is only 108 number. which is very bad. I must say that there are countries like Ireland, Norway, Sweden, where the gender equality is equal. That means there is an equal right and opportunity for a woman in those countries. You can also see that the countries like US is also not a very good on terms of gender equality. There's another thing for a feminism or a woman is that how much secure countries for a woman, what kind of rules countries is having. So if you see the red color, that means these countries is not having any strong law in terms of women protection. India comes on this side, which says that yes, there are laws, but not very strong laws. But there are countries which comes on blue. They are very strong in terms of law against discrimination for a woman in workplace. So countries like New Zealand, some part of South America, some part of Africa, they have a strong law which force there should be no discrimination between man and woman in job. As I am from India, let's talk about feminism part of India, which is very interesting. Like word, the feminism have different phase in India. The first phase of feminism in India was started during even though before when the Britain have colonized India. At that time, the most of the feminism part was actually talking about there is one system we follow in India. That time is called Sati system. So the Sati system is basically is a system at the time of India. I think in the 16th or maybe on the 18th century, when a man died. If they are married, the woman also need to die along with the man. So that's called Sati system. That was one of the bad system followed by India in 18th or 19th century, which was stopped during the time of phase one. Feminism happened in India. The phase two happened during the time of when we are fought a war for our freedom, when the Mahatma Gandhi allowed the women to participate in the freedom struggle. And the third phase, which is going from 1947 till now, is focused on same issues like women rights, equal opportunities, right for education, and the sexual, support and the violence against women after marriage. So these are the things happening in there. Would like to highlight the 6 important women who have done tremendous good job in feminism in India. A very well-known Satyabhai Phule is basically the one who actually started I said revolution against the caste system in India, who tell that women should get an opportunity to study, and if she also raised a lot of movement against rape victims and all. So she's actually called the mother of Indian feminism part. The second woman, which is strange, and she's the first one on India from the Muslim background, called Fatima Sheikh. She's the one who started Muslim women education in India. She's following the same concept of Satyabhai Phule. She's focusing that the women either from any religion can get an equal opportunity for study, for job, and as well as if they are struggling in terms of law, they should get an equal opportunity. Another lady, which is called Tarabhai Shinde, she is basically the lady who talk about more equal rights of man and woman. That time there is a higher rights for man as compared to women. So that lady raised a lot of movement in India and telling them that there should be no discrimination on the basis of sex. Ramabai Dande is another important lady who have opened lot of institutions and schools in India and trained women to get job. So she trained women, she said, don't depend on man for money or anything, go out and do job. So she opened lot of schools, trained women, and say that start your own business and be independent in terms of finance. Dr. Veena Majumdar, very recently till 1927 till 2013, she is a very strong woman activist, opened lot of centers for women, raise voice in front of the Indian government to come up with lot of new laws for women. Sharmila Rege is again following the same pathway of Dr. Veena. Started lot of movements for India or for women, criticizing that there are certain jobs which is meant for a man. Like earlier, it is like the police, the army job is only for men, not for women. So she is the one who raised that thing that the woman is strong and she could get an opportunity in Indian army, or she can get an opportunity on police, and that's the way she criticize and go against the government. And finally, now the Indian government have approved long back where the women can serve in Indian army as well as also a part of police and other forces. What is the problem with Indian feminism? Of course, there are a lot of good movement happened in the past which supports Indian women, but here is a challenge. Most of our Indian movement, we follow the Western culture. Like most of the things what happened in Western, we just copy and start doing in India. India is a different country as compared to US and UK. Our problem is different. Our women problem is different. So the movement should be started on the base of what problem we are facing in country. There are very limited movement happened in terms of class and the caste system. When we say class, like upper class, the rich people, the middle class people, and the lower class people. There are the three classes in India which face different kind of women problems. Most of the movement and things happened in upper class, and very less happened in the lower class because the women in lower class are not very educated. These are some laws which is passed by Indian government to protect women in India. This law is basically like equal salary for women. If somebody is asking money for marriage, there is a law against them. If somebody is doing trafficking of women for the terms of sex, there is again a law for them. If a woman child is abort while she is pregnant because of she is female, there's again a law, and so on, for sexual harassment. And if a woman gets pregnant, she is eligible to get at least 1 year leave from her job, and the job people cannot terminate her, and so on. So there are laws in the country, but there are certain laws which contradiction with the women law. Like there is a law called Hindu minority guardianship. So still in India, if you see a law, if there is a husband and wife, the supreme power is with the husband. If the kid wants to take admission in a school, the first name comes is father's name. The fathers have an authority to sign the documents and all. If the woman and man both are there, I'm not talking about a single woman who is having kid, they can write mother's name, but if the father and mother is there, the first priority goes to the father. So that is the one law which is contradict with the women law or a feminism concept. The another law called Criminal Act, which I believe it's a very bad. If a married couple, like a man and a woman who are married, if a man have a sexual intercourse with a woman without her wish, it's not considered as a rape. So that means it is considered that if a woman married with a man, it's a man, anytime man can have a sexual intercourse with a woman, and there is no law against that. If the women don't want, they can go and complain in the law. So that's a backlash of that law, that if a husband forces his wife, it's not considered as a rape. So these are the two laws which is contradictory law in Indian government, and lot of movements are actually going against that, and I hope that very soon this law is going to be changed. It's not only the law, there are family parents who do discrimination for the man and woman, as I give an example of mine also. Parents usually discriminated on the basis of sex in home. For example, if a girl child, she will do the all housework like cleaning, washing and all, right? The man will not do. If it's a boy, he will not do, he will just sit in a home. But if it's a girl, she will do the things. Man, the family believe, the parents believe, if he's a boy, he will go out and earn money. If she is a girl, She will more focused on learning household things, so that once she get married, she will make her a husband and husband family happy. So that's where the family is also doing discrimination with the women while they are in their own house. There are certain message you will find in that from the woman side. The woman says that my father or mother says that you should come back home early, even though my brother is out of a home for late in the life. So why there is a discrimination on the basis of that, right? And it's true, right? They also said that boys will be boys, means if boys do anything bad, they say, okay, he's a boy, let him do. But if anything women do, they said, don't do that because you are a woman. So the discrimination is not only in law or in a country, the discrimination is also happened in the family, in amongst father and mother also, right? So this is what where the people have to more focus, that stop doing discrimination even though while you are in your own home and you are with your parents. With this note, I'm sure that I'm able to give you some input in that, and thank you very much again for giving me this opportunity. I hand over the mic back to Professor Vita.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahul, for your nice presentation about the women in India, especially. That's very useful for us to know more about the woman in India. Okay, Mr. Rahul, we have many questions for you. There are about 5 questions for you. Can I read one by one? The first question from Sati, the student of Kadiri University. The question is, what is the behind the Indian rape problem? What is the behind Indian rape problem, and why does the rape case can be uh, still done, although the government has policy for it?
Yeah, it's a question which even though we are also asking our government, the major problem which I believe as an individual is that we have a law for rape problems, but we don't have a strong law. For example, if any woman gets raped, sometimes it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to prove that that woman is get raped. That's a mental harassment for the woman and her family. So there isn't a lack of strong law. There is no process of fast track, judgment. So a lot of women are afraid. They think that if I get raped, suppose if I'm a woman and I get raped, if I go to the police, it will take 2, 3, 4, 5 years time to get my, the things from the court side. And meanwhile, in 5 years, the society, the parents, and the place where the woman lives get, very harassed by the people. People will see them on a different way. And another important challenge, especially in India, most of the rapes happened in lower level of people. I told you there are different level: top level, middle level, and lower. So these lower level people are less educated.
Oh, yeah.
They are not aware about the law, right? And there are community or there are people in India who knows that this particular section is not aware about the law. They don't have money to complain, or they don't have proper knowledge. So that's why this is happening. But the main reason which I believe is the process of a law in India is very complicated and very lengthy. If there isn't a judgment within a month or two, this problem can be solved. So if a complaint comes today that this woman have raped, and the judgment come within a 1 month, we can solve this problem. So we as a government is working on that. But as you all know, the law is always in a complicated terms in terms of in any country. And that's why we are struggling with this challenge, especially in terms of rape.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So it's mean that India has struggle, yeah, for avoiding this rape, but still going on because uneducated person doesn't have what's it called, thinking that it is not good attitude, I think, like this. Okay, Mr. Rahul, next question from the audience. Do you think that the feminist movement is still necessary in these days? And because right now women and men have the same or equal right?
See, on book, yes, man and women are equal right. But
Yeah.
if you go on reality, no, there is no equal right. I must say that even though in India, you go to the top MNC, you will find the discrimination, right?
Still
So,
exists, yeah.
yeah, but if you see by law or if you see by the records, it will show that, yeah, there is an equal opportunity. But if you go on ground and check, you will find that no, there is still a lot of discrimination. The only thing which I say that nobody can help women, the women needs to help by themselves. So the movement and the thing should be started by a woman like you, Professor Nasrin, those all educated women who knows everything about feminism as well as about the law. The things comes from your side so that you can help the lower level women who are not aware, who are not educated. Because the feminism basically in India is happened on upper class or middle class only, not for the lower class. So the benefit goes to upper class, which is already equal opportunity. But the major discrimination is happened on lower class because they are not educated, they don't understand feminism concept, right?
Yeah.
So the movement should go still lower class, not stop on middle class. So that's the biggest challenge in developing countries right now.
Okay, so fifth is still needed, yeah, for perhaps special
Fifth,
for
sixth, sixth, seven, eight,
fifth,
still
seven,
that
yeah,
is
and
not
then
done.
especially
Yeah.
for lower level of the woman, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, Mr. Rahul. From the student also from Widyagama Malang. Okay. What kind of can you mention some special right who's gotten by the woman and not gotten by the men in the workplace or institution or government in India? Maybe
There are
they want to
lots.
know. Yeah,
There,
can you mention
yeah, there are
one of?
lots like maternity leave. The woman can get 1 year maternity leave. Man will not get that. Yeah.
Okay, and
So
then
we are also targeting law that give us parenthood. The male parenthood leave, which is 2 months, 3 months, so we can spend time with our kids. But that's not there. The other thing is, which is in the Indian constitution also, we call it, there are certain religious event which is meant for women only. Like there is one religious event called Karwa Chauth, you never heard about. It's a fasting for which like a Ramadan for which is done by a woman for a man for their health and happiness. So in that time they got a special privilege, leaves and other things which is again not available for a man. Yeah. So these are certain, but I cannot say that there are a lot of benefits for a woman. There are certain things in terms of getting leaves, getting certain benefit, but you still remember what is the basic need of a human, right? Equal rights, equal kind of opportunities in terms of education, job, and equal kind of respect. So that is not there. There is no equal respect in the society for man and woman. There is no equal opportunity for man and woman in terms of salary, in terms of position. And there is again not an equal kind of treatment even though in the family, which I already told you. I can tell only on the context of India, but so far I traveled 18 countries. I found some plus and minus in other countries also. Even though in US also, people say that it's a very advanced country, that there isn't a discrimination on the basis of sex there also. So these are the problems and these are the things which is happening in India. Back to you, Nita.
Yeah, okay. The last question, Mr. Rahul, maybe you want to say some statement or some words for the woman in the world, how to make them struggle, yeah.
So my thing is that the women need to take responsibility by their own. Don't see any government, that don't see any country, don't see any, I mean, don't depend on anybody. Don't feel like that the next government will come and do something for you, or somebody from out of the box will come and do activity with you. So as this is your problem, you need to solve. Nobody can help you. So please, all the women who are eligible, see complete women as a single woman. Don't divide women on the basis of religion. Don't divide women on the basis of label. Don't divide women on the basis of their educational status, right? Make out a movement which is started, ruled, controlled by a woman, and according to that movement, come up with the proper plan of laws and put it in the front of government that this is the law we want. Don't put your problem in front of the government and say them make a law, because again the lawmakers are men, right? So don't do that. Give your priority that this is the law we want and we don't want any kind of changes in that law. Because what happened when the woman put a law against the government, there is always an amendment. The man do amendment on the basis of their comfort zone. And here the problem comes. The law is very tricky in every part of the world. On paper, you will see, okay, there is a right for a woman, but when the woman goes for that right, you will find there is a lot of loopholes.
Yeah.
So in short, it's your problem. You need to solve. You don't need to trust anybody, man, anybody. Go and solve by your own. Thank you very much.
Okay, be independent. Yeah, okay.
That's the best word. Yeah. Be
Okay, thank
independent
you,
is-
Mr. Rahul. Very nice presentation. Okay, thank you for your nice presentation. And then the next speaker, Madam Nasrin. Hello, Madam. Can you hear me, Madam Nasrin? Hello, Madam. Good morning. Good morning, Madam.
She's muted. I think she cannot unmute.
Oh yeah, but he
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Professor Rita.
Hello. You look so beautiful today. Okay, the time for
So
you.
much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
From the beginning, unfortunately, I didn't have the voice.
Oh yeah.
I came from the middle of the Professor Rahul's. Just I wanted to say thank you, the Dean, Mr. Widodo, for
Yeah,
providing.
Mr. Sugeng Widodo.
Yes, and you, Professor Rita, that you manage and monitor this great webinar. Thank you.
Okay, you're
My
welcome.
name is Nasrin, and I'm Iranian. I'm a mother of 2 children, a daughter and son. I have lived in Bangkok, in Thailand, for 12 years. I studied archaeology, the restoration and conservation of historical items, and hospitality and tourism management. Now, based on our chosen topic, I would like to share my PowerPoint.
Okay, good. Okay, we can see the PowerPoint, Madam.
Yes, can you see now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Feminists, do you have my voice? Do you have my voice?
Yes, Madam.
Okay.
Very clear. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Feminists in public policy, contradictions, government policy rules for women. What exactly feminism does mean, and who is feminist? By Google's definition, as Google defines, feminism is about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. It's about respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge, and strength, and striving to empower all women to realize their full rights. A feminist is someone who supports equal rights for women. But if you ask me that, are you a feminist? Do you believe in feminism? I would say no. However, Professor Rahul explained completely about the history of feminism. But I should say that no, I do not believe in feminism, and I'm not a feminist. Because in my opinion, if we say feminism, if we believe in feminism, we destroy the harmony of life. We are defending sexism, and we are dividing men and women, their rights, men's rights and women's rights. However, it's very popular in the whole world, but in my opinion, as a woman, I do not believe in this kind of beliefs. Because I think that if we separate them, for example, it's some kind of it's a movement for women by women, and we make some kind of a position for men to portray women as victim, weak. They are weak. They are victims, and somebody should help them. This is that I think that when somebody asks me, "Are you a feminist?" Definitely, I would say, no, I am not, because I define a woman as a human rights, not as a gender. If we look at women's roles globally, we see that women, notably mothers, play the most important role about family planning as decision makers. We will see that they perform the role of mother, partner, organizer, the role of wife, partner, organizer, administrator, director, recreator, economist, mother, teacher, health office, artist, farmer, educator, entrepreneur, and queen in the family at the same time. Plays a key role in socio-economic development of society, has ensured that the stability, sustainability, and progress in long-term development of nations, the society. This is that we can see it globally that how is the role of women. I would like to mention about some great quotes by great scholars and great people. I mentioned as one of your guests said that you mentioned about some kind of men's quotes. Hopefully, all of them are men. That they mentioned, same as Ravi Shankar, that I'm a big fan of his daughter's great musician, Indian musician, who plays sitar. He explained about the women, the role of women in the development of society is of utmost importance. In fact, it is the only thing that determines whether a society is strong and harmonious or otherwise. Women are the backbone of society. Or Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General of the United Nations, that stated, when women thrive, all of the society benefits, and succeeding generations are given a better start in life. Or Khalid Hosseini, one of the most famous authors, which his book Kite Runner is one of my favorites, said a society has no chance of success if its women are uneducated. We have many women, many successful women, they have their key role and they are leading or led many countries in the past and now. We can mention about Benazir Bhutto, Prime Minister of Pakistan from 1988 to 1990, and again from 1993 to 1996. The first woman to head a democratic government in a Muslim majority country. Or the other lady who is very, very famous now is Jacinda Ardern, the 14th Prime Minister of New Zealand, that who's the leader of Labour Party. You know, the combining leading the country with her motherhood is really, really incredibly inspiring symbol of many women. And they can inspire that every single woman can be a mother, can be a, for example, housewife, and can do many things in the society. That's why we should not underestimate the role of women in the society, in our country. This is very important. Look back to, if we go in my Iran, in my country, Iran, we see many, many successful women that they have, as I mentioned, the key role in the country. I can mention some of them, some examples for you, same as Masum Ebtekar, Head of Department of Environment, Marzieh Wahid-Dasturdi, Minister of Health, Shahin Dokht Mullaverdi, Vice President for Women's and Family Affairs, Zahra Ahmadipour, Head of Cultural Heritage, Handicrafts and Tourism Organization, Farzaneh Sharafbafi, the Manager, Chairwoman, and CEO of Iranian. With all those examples, 5% of world leaders are women, and women are still significantly underrepresented in senior roles in businesses, media, and politics. We should know what is the reason, what are the reason that these great potentials, these great abilities, they are ignored. What are the reasons? We should find out what happened in the world that this amount of potential are ignored. I would like to mention, to see how the religion portray women's role in the society. That's why I came with this idea to see how Quran defines women. Islam confers on women all the political and social rights which men enjoys. She is entitled to all the privileges bestowed upon men, besides worldly matters. Women are also equal to men in the spiritual sense. Allah says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا والنساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. People, fear your Lord who created you from a single soul, and of its kind created its mate, and from them twain spread many men and women, and fear Allah, in whose name you appeal to one another, and fear him particularly respecting ties of kinship. Verily Allah watches over you. And actually in Christianity, we know, if we go back to the history, we see that the most important role for establishing of the Christianity are women. We can mention about Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Mary Bethany, and her sister. Jesus Christ used to go to visit them at their house to teach and have meal together. Gospel accounts reflect the prominent historical roles that women played in Jesus' ministries as disciples. Then, why would all this, as I mentioned, in religions, we see that really women are important, and they mention it specifically that they are important. If we go back to history and we see, go to story and see that the roles in 3 new technologies, same as agriculture, pottery, weaving, they are exactly, or luckily, they are inventors of these 3 technologies. Agriculture, because they had to cultivate and gather some seeds and plants for food, because at that moment the men were in the war. It was in wartime, for example. Or pottery, because they had to make food and storage them. That's why they invented pottery. And actually weaving, because they wanted to make clothes for their family. That's why from the back to history, we see how women were important, how their role, it was some kind of 50-50. Can we see this amount of 50-50 nowadays in our societies? You know the answer. And if we mention about World War I in the US, you see that something changed in the USA. And women felt they had to fear many jobs that were brought into existence by wartime needs, because men had to go to the war, and many industries needed some workforces and they had to go to industries, to factories, to companies to work. Little by little, they found that they can do whatever the men do. And this is some kind of a movement for women, actually in European countries or USA, that men get out of home and start working in workplaces. If we want to, after that, we found that, for example, that women start working in workplaces. We need maturity in women in the society. If this maturity in women is no maturity in women, the society, that a community will be destroyed, will be collapsed. The most important step, the most important thing that women, as I'm telling you, as a woman, they have to be aware of their rights, their abilities, their power, their capacities, their potentials. They should be aware of themselves. This is my message today, that every single woman should be aware of themselves first. They should look at themselves as a human being, social maturity. They should look at themselves as a, as a human being. Not, for example, it's going to the working for work or some places as a woman. No, as a human being. This is your right. That you should not make a difference between yourself and a man. It says that's why I mentioned it here is women's awareness. They should be aware of their capacities. They should be aware of themselves. They should know their rights. If, for example, in the future, do they accept that, for example, they need retirement exactly same as men or not? First of all, they have to increase this awareness by education. Education is very important. I will mention about it later. And actually, little by little, by self-awareness, the confidence, self-esteem will be increased automatically. They will get confidence that they go and they can work as a minister. They can work as a CEO or manager because already they know their own capacities and potentials. They can be educated. They can do some education in the universities, in the schools, because they are the future mothers, because they are teaching their children. That's why women's awareness, as Professor Rahul mentions, the woman should know their capacities and potentials. This is very, very important. From now, all of the participants here, especially women, I give this message that please be aware of your potentials. Don't underestimate yourself. And that's why this self-esteem gonna be that maybe it's lost. You have to find out. You have to get it. Aware of economic, social, political, environmental maturities in women. When we want a sustainable society, we have to mention, we have to consider about economic, social, political, environmental maturities in women. That's why after that we will have a sustainable society or community. For example, for environmental women, maturity in women. Just look at the present, the current situation, what happened in the world. I would like to, ask Professor Vito that maybe with a topic that how was it that women was the leader of world? Do you think that this kind of chaos and mess happened in the world? Or look at Middle East, how many wars happened? For what? Who led this kind of chaos in the world? unfortunately, men. Men have done this mess, especially in Middle East, my country, Syria, Yemen, and the other countries in the Middle East. That's why women has this potential that because they are much more receptive than men. And we know, because if we go back to our family, we look at our mothers, we see how they can manage the family. From, for example, from the separated waste of houses, from they go out and they working, and they see how their mother are leading the families, and they can do the best out of houses in the society, in the biggest scale in politics in the society. A woman has to find out her potentials through education. We must teach our students as educators. We must teach our students and children. Maturity is not relying on gender. The education can improve society, enhance the status of girls and women, reduce population growth rates, enhance environmental protection, as I mentioned, and widely raise the standard of living. That's why we have to recognize and increase women's potentials. How can we do this, for example, increasing this maturity in the society? Start from the families. From the beginning, the first step, women's awareness, they should be aware of themselves, and after that, start from the families and educate them. They should know that for example, everything is changed. Women cannot stay at home and just do the core of all the chore of the housewife. However, is really appreciable, as I'm a housewife as well, and I have to do something at home. I have to cook and so on. But we have to start the families, start from our fathers, our men, our brothers. As Professor Rahul, we have to do something ourselves. We have to tell them, father, our daughters, our sons, we are equal, and we can do whatever you are doing now. Raising awareness through support and training, inclusive cultural knowledge, and the role of governments. You have to do something cultural, because especially in Middle East and in my country, Iran, we have some kind of, patriarchy and some kind of traditional families. I know, for example, my family is one of them. Based on tradition, based on culture, they behave with daughters, with sons. That's why we start from our families that, for example, I, as a mother, I behave equal with my son as with my daughter, because I want to teach them that you are equal. Whatever your sister can do, and you can do it as well. That's why I'm telling start from family as well. And the other that I mentioned, the role of governments, is of course important. But as Professor Rahul mentioned, we cannot put all things, all issues, all problems at the table of governments. However, they are responsible of the society. I do not, ignore it. I do not say that, no. Of course, they have special responsibility to govern the community and country. But at the same time, we have to do something by ourselves. Let's talk about the role of governments. Strategies should be considered when making women's as well as men's concerns and experience. They have to see exactly the same as family. They have to see women and men equally, not separate them. Women's salary, men's salary, women's retirement salary, or whatever. They should see there, and they should make some policy, because as Professor Rahul mentioned, our constitution has problem. Later I will mention about that they have to revise some regulations, some laws, because some of them are really against the women. To design, implement, monitor, and evaluate our policies and programs in all political, economic, social spheres, and educational, such that inequality between men and women is not perpetuated. There's no inequality between men and women. To offer equal access to economic opportunities. And the most important thing that I mentioned here, trust the women's competencies, talents, qualifications, identities, abilities, efficiencies, capabilities, etc. They should believe in women. They should trust them that they can. There are many examples, as I mentioned. In my country, in Middle East, in European countries, in the whole world. They should trust them. They should believe in them, that they can do it. And they already approve that they can. In my country, Iran, we had election last month, and Ayatollah Raisi was elected as president. And he stated, and he talked about that his policy about that, what will he do for women. We hope that all of them will be happy, because there are long distance between, theory and performances. Let's see what's going on, because there are many difficulties and problems in our constitution, in our laws, that they have to change. They have to change, as Professor Rahul mentioned about, for example, if harassment, unfortunately, the same. If harassment or something happened in Iran, or it takes long time to, for example, a woman approve that something happened to me, some harassment happened to me. That's why they have to change it. And we want from our president that please revise and change some regulation and laws. Or, for example, unfortunately, in our laws, for example, 2 women are equal with men in testimony of some, for example, if they go to the court, the 2 women are equal with 1 man. Or for example, for if they want to inherit some from their parents, boys or men got twice than women. This is always my problem. And hopefully some family, some open-minded family, they do it by themselves. They said, no, my daughter is equal with my son. And they inherited the same. We can see, as I mentioned, the Middle East, we need some changes. We can see some changes in Saudi Arabia by Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince, that because women didn't allow to drive, can you imagine? But he made some changes. Now women in Saudi Arabia can change and have driver license. So very basic, rights for women. These big changes will happen slowly by open-minded and intellectual leaders. We need these kind of leaders in our societies, in our communities and countries. That they should be open-minded. They should know how the world is going on. I do not say that we have to break all of the taboos, all of the everything. No, but little by little. It takes time. I know, but it's possible. They witness the discrimination between, because as I mentioned, there's this discrimination, sex discrimination in their family, their own family. That this discrimination between fathers, their fathers and mothers. However, they saw that the mother can lead the family as a father. We need to look women as high potential human beings, not based on sexist discriminations. Look at Angela Merkel. Everybody knows, I'm sure at this room, everybody knows Angela Merkel. What has she done? During that he was as Chancellor of Germany. This is a great example for a woman. The leaders in Middle East, they should consider that men and women, their capacities, their potentials, their efficiencies are the same, are equal. That's why all the time I I have problem with the word of feminism. In Iran, we have, some kind of, as I said, however, still needs some changes, but parents' mindsets have changed and newer generation is involved in many fields, but still need more investigations and researches. Then again, as Professor Rahul mentioned about underage marriage, and I wanted to ask about this case in his country, but I have time. But it's really, really, we have to revise, we have to investigate. For example, in my country, still, we can see this underage marriage. We can see in the small cities, in some villages, in rural area. We have to change the leaders. Whoever is policymakers, making the policy, they have to change some rules because they are hurting. For example, at 9 years old, should educate, should play on the ground. Why she should marry? The laws should be revised, should be changed. The number of female graduated in my country, whatever there are many difficulties, hopefully the number of female graduates is higher than male graduates. This shows they have realized the importance of education. In my country, because we faced with many difficulties, same as, for example, we had 8 years war between Iran and Iraq. And after that, we had, we have sanctions, we are experiencing sanctions for few years. And people are really suffering based on economic issues. And after that, we all also, experiencing pandemic, coronavirus. That's why my country is facing with many, many, many difficulties. And we, as I said, however, governments are in charge of this kind of responsibility, but we, one by one, we can do many things in the world, in our country. Men and women side by side, stand by each other. We should do something for education system. We should teach students and children, as I mentioned, to know men and women equal. Women are cooperating in the marketplaces, companies, offices, universities, and so on, more than before. If you look at the statistics, you will see that Iranian women nowadays, hopefully, the number of them they are very, so nice, and I'm so happy for that. That when you go somewhere in very important roles, key roles, you will see great women in my country, and this is the power of women. Whatever in Iran, all the in the world, if they believe on themselves, they can do many things. They can change the world. I would like to mention a great woman, genius Iranian woman, Maryam Mirzakhani, Iranian physicist, who was an Iranian mathematician and a professor of mathematics at Stanford University. In 2013, was honored with the Fields Medal, the most prestigious award in mathematics. She became both the first and the only woman and the first Iranian to be honored with the award. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2017 by cancer. Now, I want to mention about, because all in all that I talk about women's governance, I talk about women's self-esteem, I talk about education, the system education, about the role of governments, to educate the families. However, government should educate themselves as well, because they need some changes in their own policies. You know, I came with this idea that I mentioned about one of the great organizations that they are very famous in the world as the collective voice of Muslim world, that they safeguard and protect in the interest of Muslim world in the spirit of promoting international peace and harmony. They have done great job many years, as it's founded in 1967 in Saudi Arabia, and they had great job so far, and they held some seminars, same as women empowerment in member states, challenges and prospects in Burkina Faso, or developing the capacities of national institutions working in the field of women empowerment in OIC member states in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Why I mention about this great organization? Because I came up with this idea. I want to give the message by this great webinar, that I want to, to mention that women should work on women, as Mr. Rahul, Professor Rahul mentioned. We cannot stay that when our government should do this and they should do it for us. I came with this idea that we can help, we can ask this organization, all women in OIC unite and provide the conditions for the empowerment of women, especially the ones who lack the voice, suitable facilities and opportunities. I really, really invite them by my heart that they have to provide these conditions for the ones, the women that really, if they are in the villages, they are in the, nobody can listen and hear their voices, but they can, because, based on, as the population of Muslim world is 1.8 billion from 8 billion population world. That's why they are some kind of 1/4 of world population are Muslims. That's why the women in this organization should come together, side by side. They work, and they provide some facilities for those women or girls or daughters that they have the lack of the facilities and they don't have money, they have nothing. It's a time that we work for each other. They make it a priority plan to empower their skills by education using social media as a tool, online classes or universities and etc. We can think, they can think, they are very smart and intellectual. They can find the way that how can they help women. They have great potentials, but they are not visible. Nobody can listen to their voices. Alliance for Cooperation show the importance of women's role in society brilliantly and present it to the world beautifully. This was my message, that however everybody is responsible in the family, ourselves, and whoever, This is my message for OIC, especially in women in OIC. Please, please do it and unite and provide these facilities for women. However, I believe that men should stand by, each other hand in hand. But at the same time, I believe this great quote, empowered women, empowered women. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Nasrin, for your very nice presentation. Empowered woman, empower woman. I like this statement. Okay, Madam, we have some question from the audience, from the participant. The first question is, what kind of strategy from Iran government for making the women and men concerned in politics, economy, and social program?
To be honest, related to my government, their policy. However, I told you, I mentioned that we are having the new president. Still, we don't know what's going on in the new government, but we are very optimistic that they do something for women. Still, is some kind of, it's really hard, and we should see what's going on in the new government. As I mentioned, I told already, see now is new president. We should see what's going on in the future.
Okay, good. Next question, Madam. And in your opinion, what should the woman do for making them being a good empowered woman without leaving their nature as the woman?
Pardon, please repeat again.
Okay, in your opinion, what should the woman do for making them being a good empowered woman without leaving their nature as a woman?
Oh, we can do many things. As I mentioned, first of all, we have to educate ourselves. The most important thing, we have to aware of our potentials. For example, we are making, some kind of online university free for women. I do not want to advertise because it's not nice. We are making this especially for women, that they can participate, they can register to this online university free. And we are negotiating that, for example, we give them the certificate by Ministry of Education as well. It depends on ourselves. What is in our mind? If we believe on themselves, we can do many things.
Okay. Next question, Madam. The same question, almost the same question, yeah, with Mr. Rahul question. Is there any regulation or government policy in Iran related with the sexual harassment of the woman out of the workplace?
Oh, I mentioned about. Unfortunately, same as Professor Rahul mentioned, if something happened related to harassment to a woman, not really good policy for protecting women's rights. Unfortunately, if a woman complain about, for example, something happened to me, rape me, harassment, it's long distance to go to the courts, and after that, nobody knows. Maybe they say, because I've heard many of these comments, you should protect yourself. You should cover first yourself, and nothing happen in the society. Something like this.
Okay, yeah, okay. So we must protect ourselves, yeah, by ourselves, not depend to another person. Really, Madam? Okay, and then the last question, the same. What do you want to say to the women in the world, Madam? How to make them strong and struggle for the equality for them? What do you want to say?
Maybe some of women, they don't have enough, power to speak. But there are many people that they can coach and they can be mentor of them. They should ask some helps. For example, now I need some helps. I talk to you, Professor Vita. I have this problem. I want to do this. Could you please help me? We should get some help from outside. It doesn't matter. Even me, if I need some helps, I will ask you, because I know you as a mentor, as a coach, as a guide. whatever, we should ask help from outside.
So maybe it is better for us if we have a problem. Maybe there are some committee or organization, yeah, madam, for the
Yes, we should.
woman,
Yeah.
yeah, for making the woman have the place for sharing the problem and find the
Yes.
solution. Yeah.
Yes. Find a solution. As I
Okay.
told you, it takes time, but it is possible.
Okay. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, madam, for your nice presentation. Okay. Thank you. And the next, we come to the third speaker from Kadiri University, but unfortunately, Mr. Imam is sick, yeah, by accident because he just informed me 5 minutes before this webinar begins. So, on behalf of Kadiri University, I apologize, and on behalf of Kadiri University, I will read the material from Mr. Imam Fachruddin. Uh, Please, the computer, you can help me to share the presentation. So I will read the presentation from Mr. Imam for the audience because he can't attend this webinar because of sick. Actually, the third presenter is Mr. Imam Fachruddin. He is the one of the lecturer from Kadiri University, especially in Faculty of Political and Science Faculty of Kadiri University. But he is sick today, so I will change him to read the presentation and deliver this presentation to the audience about the feminism in Indonesia. Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is the PPT presentation from Mr. Imam Fachruddin. He write about the feminism, about the new order regime of rolling the reform open the order for the improvement of women more broadly in political life and political making after this previous new order stigmatization, domestication, and co-option against the woman. And also, feminism is the process of transitioning democracy that has been in currently running a little allow women to claim space for equity and gender justice in newly emerging or reform institution. The effort to improve the representation of women in government is institution that produce public policies are important and become a priority for the women's movement. And then there are some reason of because the public policy has a different impact of men and women in the gender in the world. So public policy also has got capacity to perpetuate or able limit gender discrimination. Before the incorporation of feminist perspective as the main consideration in the perpetuate implementation of public policy, we can expect gender equality and justice to be realized. Also, so far we can presenting and involving the women so enough result in the legislative institution at the central level, parliament representative or DPR in Indonesia, and there was an increase the number of the women elected in two elections, which was 12% in 2004 and 18% in 2009, also declined in 2014 and 70.63%. So there are many women in Indonesia has some position in parliament representative. It is proof that now women in Indonesia has the same equality with the men, have a chance, the same chance for being the parliament representative or in politics case. And then although the regional level of parliament representative in DPRD is the number is smaller, there are even some areas that do not have female legislative member in DPRD. At executive institution, the number of female employees who had the are. Next, before that, the justice system also there are many positions of the woman in the justice system. Also, the increase of women access to justice, the application of regional autonomy in the line, with the rolling of reform is expected to also be able to open the access, participation, and control of women to various public policies at the local level, so that women also benefit and become the subject to the policy. And then the important question that need to be submitted regarding the presence and involvement of the woman in the political realm, the public policy making, is whatever woman is public position truly promote women's interests in public policy making. And then in 12 of 2006 concerning citizenship, law number 21 of 27 concerning eradication of criminal treat people, law number 36 of 2009 concerning health, and then law number 52 of 2009 concerning the development of population and family development, and also law number 15 of 2011 con 7 of 2012 concerning handling social conflict at the regional level. There are also a number of regulatory regional regulation that are popular with the women, such as the protection of the woman and victim protection. And then concerning the election of organizer, law number 10 of 2012 concerning the election, and law number 92 studies discuss a number of key equations related to women and public policies from various. And then next, the application of gender sensitive budget in budgeting and reforming the legal framework for justice system to increase the woman access to justice. The application of the regional autonomy in line with the rolling of the reform is expected to be also be able to open the access, participation, and control of women at various public policies and the local level, so that the women also benefit and become subject to policy. And then the important of question that need to be submit regarding to presence and involvement, politically armed public policy making is whatever woman in public position truly promote women in public policy making, thus the resulting political automatically. And then the influence of feminist group in decision making in legislative and executive, implementing of policies imposed, an important point of the analysis to examine the role of carried out of feminist group in one of all these important steps in policy making process. And then from the panel sampling violence, regional regulation, liberation of birth certificate costs, the empowerment of women, and the prevention of marriage in the age of children. In addition, the government also issued the Presidential Instruction number 9 of 2000 concerning gender mainstream and in development. On the other hand, there are also a number of policy drafts which until today are still in the process of discussion and have not been promulgated. And then the last, the grassroots women in encouraging professional public policy at the local level and narrative, the political concept of the Hannah Arendt. In addition, narrative related the question on how and the extent of the policies compiled and carried out by government of Joko Widodo, our president, and need for the woman need presented in the research public narrative about the experience of the woman involved in the state on independent institutions such as the finance minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati, KPU Commissioner Ida Budiati, and chairperson of Puskapol Sri Budi Eko Wardani is the profile of interview rubric. It is the example of the success woman in Indonesia. So I will give the highlight from this presentation that actually women almost the same with the in India and also in Iran, that actually we have some paradigma. It is the old that the woman always stay at home, not necessary to have the high education and not necessary to get the go out, and no chance for getting a job at outside the room, because woman is the by nature is a woman, so just involved with the household, etc. But after the emancipation by Kartini in 1897, there are some the movement in Indonesia is begin. The feminist movement is begin. There are many organizations for the woman also, step by step, the woman has the equality with the man in the place of work, and also have some chance, the same chance for getting the education, and also having some chance for getting a job outside the house. And then there are many famous Indonesian in being the minister in Indonesia, also being some have the big role for the government. So in Indonesia actually the position of the woman and the man is almost the same in some case, but I think as Mr. Rahul said that we still need many movement, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 movement for the woman, yeah, especially for the lower educated woman, for getting much equality with the men. I think that's all. This is the presentation from Mr. Imam. Okay, I think it is no question because we checked. Okay, maybe Madam Nasrin or Mr. Rahul, we can add something before we close this seminar.
Just I have a question the same that you asked me
Yeah.
about the if something happened for women, for example, famous harassment or rape. How is it in your country? How is the regulation or laws? They are protecting women.
Oh yeah,
Strictly.
also the same with India, madam. In Indonesia, there are some regulation for the woman, but the procedure of this regulation is very slow. Yeah, so that maybe if we have some trouble, for example, rape or something else in Indonesia, and then we report to the police, but we will wait for a long time to get the result. And as usually, what's they call, and the law in Indonesia, in Indonesian law for the woman is not too strong as it. So maybe it is our duty for push the government for making the tough law, yeah, for the woman, and making the woman has some higher level than now. I think that's all.
So, Kuvita, I have
Yeah.
one question. I also request a question from Professor Nasrin also. For both of you, ma'am, I would like to know that because both of the countries are Muslim countries.
Yeah.
So, how much impact of a religion on the law in terms of, especially related with female?
Oh, can I answer first?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, many. Actually, if you look at the constitution in my country, constitution laws, you will see the effect of religion in the laws. That's why some people they have problem with this, that they say that we should not mix religion with the laws and restrictions. But yes, affected. I should say 100%. Yes.
Almost the same, Mr. Rahul, because we have separate, different, yeah, very different. The concept of woman is on the feminism and religion, because in Muslim religion the woman is not feminist. Okay, yeah, just stay at home and then can do the job outside the house. So the duty of the woman actually only at home, handle the housework. So we can make separation between the religion and the feminism. I think it is like this.
I also would like to know, because just I know you people are aware that India is a very multicultural company and multi-religious country. Not especially in terms of religion, we have n number of religion, but on paper, if you go, it's somewhere around 20-25 religion. It's a majority Hindu-based country where we have a good number of percentage of Muslim, Christians, Punjabis, Buddhism, and all those people. So, as being in a multicultural country, it's very hard to make a law against or in a favor of women. For an example, in the Hindu Act, if a man gets married with a woman, he cannot leave her, or he cannot have one or two or extra wives while he's in a relationship with one woman. So it's in a law in Hindu Act. But while we talking about the same law in, suppose, with all your respect, in Muslim in India, they have called the concept of in the law where I hope you heard about this. They call it a triple talaq concept, where the man can only say three times this word, and the woman is no more longer with that man, which in Hindu or Christian and Buddhism the man cannot do that. They have to go by law channel, which is almost a year long, and it's a very expensive process. So most of the people of Hindu, Buddhism, Punjabi, they are afraid to go with this process of divorce because of the law complication. But in the same time, same country, there's a separate law for Muslim, which is actually, I feel, that discriminated the women rights, because the Muslim women who are not very educated, they are in lower ground, they are not aware about the law, they are struggling with this divorce process, which is favoring some mans in that particular region. So, as being you people are from the same side, how you see this problem, how we can solve this problem in India? I would like to take an opinion of you and anyone who are feeling they can give input to us.
Very, very difficult question. Actually, I should ask this question from you, as you are you are Indian. Yes, to live in the multicultural country is very difficult because they have to consider all different ideas and beliefs. But if you ask about the Muslim countries, you want some opinion for your country, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I just want to know an opinion not on the basis of country or religion, but as being a woman, how do you see that? Do you see this law as a discrimination for a woman?
I would suggest that all of the policymakers, all of the governors, they should write this constitution away of any religious ideas and beliefs. They do not think about, for example, don't think about any religious or idea. They should write the right constitution and laws based on the country, not based on, for example, this amount of people are Buddhists, this amount of people are Hindus. Of course, they have to consider their rights, but it should be some kind of, they gather, whole countries at the same time. This is my opinion. They don't look at the people, the laws and restrictions are same as that. For example, I think that it's better, much better that religions, because the religions are divine thing, better should be a little bit away of the laws and restrictions. This is my opinion, if it's possible.
Thank you, Dr. Nasrin, for this advice, and I'm sure that we people are trying, but because I teach IR, I know the complication of international relation and the same time the complication of religion in terms of law and other things. So it's a complicated process, I agree on that part. But here again, the challenge comes of the education level of a people of that country. Because if you're trying to make a law which is contradicting with the religion, any religion, with respect, the people who are not aware about the consequences and the benefit of the religion, they come on roads and they start doing strikes and going against the government. And as in a democratic country, the politician needs votes of those people. So they don't want to make them angry. So to make them happy for their political benefit, they don't come up with that strong law which is going to be having a good impact on all religion and all people. So that's a challenge and the dilemma where most of the democratic countries are stuck right now. So how to solve the personal benefit and how to go with the national benefits.
Just I ask you, Professor Rahul, in your parliament, all of them, as you mentioned, multicultural, you are a multicultural country, all of the, the different cultures, they are in your parliament or not?
Yeah, it's a representation of both. In our constitution, it is mandatory that the parliament should have a certain reservation seats for every person. In the name of sex, in name of the religion, in name of the label. So there are particular seats available only for women. Then there is a particular seats available for particular religion, like a seats for Muslim a seats for Hindu, a seat for Christian, so that there's a proper representation. But you need to see that this representation comes from that particular party. Suppose there is an XY party who are fighting for that authority. The X party have 10 women who is belonging to suppose different religion, and other side there are 6 women who are on a Y party representing two different religion. So here, once they reach to that level, it's a fight for a power. It's not a fight for a rights then. Even though the woman is also fighting for the power because they wanted to be minister or politician. So they forget about that. They're supposed to be there for the rights of a woman or for the rights of a people. They thought I wanted to become a president or I want to become a prime minister so that I've been very well known and having a lot of money. So the entry, they all are women and man, but once they enter in that house, they all become politicians, and the fight is more about power, not about the rights.
I see. Actually, it's not only in your country. Unfortunately, it happens in most of countries in the world. They fight for the table, for the positions. Unfortunately, you're right. It happens even in my country as well, unfortunately.
That's why in the starting I said, doctor, that everything is on paper perfect. But on ground, it's in a different story, not in my country, of course. It's in developed and other nations also. So it could be only done by the people, as I say, like you and other people who are listening. Those who are not go for the power quest, for a table quest, there are ladies which you showed us, there are ladies which I showed to the audience. These people are not fought for table or for some authority or power. These are ground level people who have not earned single money from any movement, but they bring the radical changes in that constitution and the community and in the life of a woman. So that somebody has to come out of thousands who are, who are not in any kind of mindset of getting power or benefit and thinking about humanity over any religion in any country.
Yes, correct. Dr. Professor Rahul, there's another regulation in our country, in Islam as well, that a man can marry with four or five, women at the same time. And many women, they are against of this law. Why we have this law? This is against of a right or whatever. And I tell them, if you do not accept to be a second wife of a man, automatically this regulation will be cancelled. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
When you're talking, okay, Islam has this regulation, okay, that, for example, a man can have 4 or 5 wives at the same time. Okay, if you are against this law, do not be a second or third wife of a man. This is that you mentioned every single woman can do it by herself. Do not wait for governments or governors or policymakers or whoever. You should do it by yourself. And I did teach my daughter, it's not okay if you enter to another relationship or another family. Right. I can hear the voice of Adhan.
So it's really nice to talk to you, Dr. Nasrin, and I'm sure that in future I'll personally get more opportunity to discuss because it's my interest area also. I have spent 6 years in Dubai, so I'm very much, as being in a Hindu family man, I'm very much connected with most of Muslim countries and Muslim friends. So it's always fascinating for me to talk about, the bright part of the religion and
Great.
See that how that bright part can use. So I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to talk in some other platform. With this note, I would like to thank everyone, every listener, and special thanks to Ms. Vita and Kadiri University for giving me an opportunity. It's an honor to talk to you all. At the same time, it's an honor and a great learning for me to get an opportunity to talk to Dr. Nasrin and get his input on this topic. Thank you very much. Be safe and healthy.
Okay, thank you so much as well,
Madam Nasrin. Before we close the presentation, maybe I will read the conclusion from this webinar. that feminism refers to the equality of the right and opportunities to be in aspect of life between men and the woman. And before that, there are many problems and challenges faced by the woman, such as the education, unemployment, facing, gender system, gender inequality, and female abortion, sexual violence, asset attack, and also woman trafficking. That's why for making the woman has the equality with the man, the feminist movement can be done. And then there are fourth feminist movement, the first wave in 19th and the 20th century. The movement success in the gaining the woman the right to vote and other legal liberties. And then the second wave, the movement success in the securing the career option for the woman and many reproductive rights. And the third wave, the movement for equality by focusing exclusive on female victim or gender neutral issues. And also the fourth movement for individual harassment. But actually, because some contradiction and government policy rule for women is appear, it is needed for the government to have the some strategies as the many countries for making women as well as the men's concern in the experience in the integral dimension in the design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluating the policies and program in political, economic, social, and education. Because mostly some countries in the world still have no relevant provision of the woman protection from discrimination at work, and then only some countries have general protection, but not too specific for the woman, and only a little countries has guaranteed protection from discrimination at the work for the woman. That's the conclusion from our webinar of today. Before we close the presentation, may I allow on behalf of Kadiri University, thank you very much for Mr. Rahul and Madam Nasrin, also for all participants who has joined this webinar. And for the documentation, allow me to ask you to take a picture together with the participants. So please turn on the camera. And for the computer, please. Okay, Mr. Rahul Bhandari. Mr. Rahul, can you turn on your camera for taking the picture?
Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Please.
Is there any trouble, Mr. Rahul?
No. I was working on something else. Just give me.
Okay, be with you. Enough. Okay. The computer, please take the best picture for us. Okay, I will count. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, go. Enough. The audience. Sorry. The computer. Is it finished? Maseno, is it finished? Okay, once again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahul, Madam Nasrin. Nice to see you today, and hopefully this webinar has some benefit for us, and absolutely for the woman itself. Thank you for your participation, and for the audience also thank you for your participation. Have a nice day. Stay safe there. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank
See
you so
you.
much.
Bingung kuliah di mana? Universitas Kadiri mempunyai 6 fakultas dan 21 program studi. Fakultas Hukum, program studi S1 Hukum dan S2 Hukum. Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, program studi S1 Administrasi Publik dan S2 Administrasi Publik. Fakultas Pertanian, program studi S1 Agroteknologi dan S1 Agribisnis. Fakultas Ekonomi, program studi S1 Ekonomi Pembangunan, S1 Manajemen, dan S2 Manajemen. Fakultas Teknik, program studi S1 Teknik Sipil dan S1 Teknik Industri. Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan, program studi D3 Kebidanan, D4 Kebidanan, S1 Kebidanan, Pendidikan Profesi Bidan, S1 Keperawatan, Pendidikan Profesi Nurse, S1 Farmasi, D4 Teknik Laboratorium Medis, D3 Teknik Elektromedis, dan Pendidikan Profesi Apoteker. Info pendaftaran. Ketik link http://pendaftaran.undip-kediri.ac.id/. Tata cara pendaftaran. Setelah terbuka halaman awal pendaftaran, lalu pilih daftar atau daftar kesehatan untuk Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan. Masukkan data diri Anda. Login dengan menggunakan NIK dan password yang Anda masukkan. Halaman dashboard setelah login, lalu bayar biaya pendaftaran menggunakan nomor virtual account yang didapatkan. Jika sudah, akan mendapatkan nomor pendaftaran dan bisa melakukan tes online pada tautan yang ada di dashboard. Jika dinyatakan diterima, kemudian upload dokumen yang dibutuhkan. Kemudian bayar tagihan registrasi dengan nomor virtual account yang diperoleh. Registrasi mahasiswa baru untuk mendapatkan NIM. Isi data diri dengan benar dan lengkap sesuai dengan isian yang diminta. Universitas Kadiri memiliki 4 jalur pendaftaran. Jalur prestasi untuk calon mahasiswa yang lulus pada 2 tahun terakhir atau bebas tes dengan mengunggah prestasi minimal di tingkat regional atau menggunakan nilai rata-rata rapot 8-10. Jalur KIPK. Jalur KIPK merupakan beasiswa untuk calon mahasiswa yang kurang mampu dan memiliki kemampuan akademik dan telah terdaftar di laman kip-kuliah.kemendikbud.go.id. Jalur reguler. Jalur reguler untuk semua calon mahasiswa baru lulusan SMA atau sederajat yang mendaftar di Universitas Kadiri. Dan jalur transfer. Jalur transfer untuk mahasiswa pindahan atau alih jenjang atau lintas jalur di semua angkatan. Universitas Kadiri juga memiliki beragam fasilitas seperti Gedung Olahraga Surya Kediri yang digunakan para mahasiswa untuk kegiatan olahraga. Dalam Gor Surya Universitas Kadiri juga dilengkapi fasilitas olahraga seperti basket, futsal, bulu tangkis, tenis meja, dan fitness center. Musola. Perpustakaan yang dilengkapi dengan ratusan buku untuk referensi, sekaligus berbagai hasil penelitian mahasiswa Universitas Kadiri. Laboratorium komputer dengan berbagai alat yang memadai, dengan kapasitas 50 orang mahasiswa. Laboratorium bahasa yang dilengkapi dengan fasilitas full internet, dengan kapasitas 50 orang mahasiswa. Galeri investasi merupakan sarana untuk pembelajaran dan diskusi bersama tentang pasar modal. Laboratorium sipil dan laboratorium industri, greenhouse dan laboratorium pertanian, peradilan semu, laboratorium farmasi, ruang micro teaching, dan aula sebagai sarana kegiatan para mahasiswa. Universitas Kadiri juga memiliki beragam prestasi, antara lain klasterisasi perguruan tinggi urutan 48 pada klaster 4. SIM Katmawa peringkat 102 nasional. Universitas Kadiri juga memiliki beragam unit kegiatan mahasiswa atau UKM yang berprestasi. Antara lain, UKM Kerohanian Islam, juara 3 Tilawah Quran 2019. UKM Olahraga Futsal, juara 1 futsal antar mahasiswa se-Jawa Timur. Mahasiswa berprestasi nasional, juara 1 Pekan Olahraga Mahasiswa Nasional 2019. Mahasiswa berprestasi internasional, juara 1 tenis meja internasional. UKM seni menyanyi, juara 2 nasional. Dan Galeri Investasi memperoleh prestasi juara 1 Banking and Finance Festival. Mari bergabung bersama Universitas Kadiri untuk mewujudkan cita-cita Anda.
Recording stopped.